is a mark of disgrace.
That keeps people from getting the help that they need.
Words matter.
Let's help, not hurt.
Let's change the conversation from what's wrong with you
to what happened to you.
We're ASAP of Anderson, and we're working to shift the conversation around substance use disorder
from stigma
to compassion. Stand with us.
Stand with us.
Stand with us.
Visit asapofanderson.org
for tips on how you can help, not hurt.
This is no ordinary table. It's a mailroom, a community board, and a bank. For 30 years, this table was an anchor. These days, though, it's a very different story. Even when you prepare, life doesn't always go as planned. Today, 1 in 7 seniors live in poverty. To learn how you can help, visit aarpfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dudley Evans. Join me right here on Channel 12 for our new program entitled Highway to Heaven. Every Saturday night at 7 p.m., we'll be joined with church pastors, group leaders, soloists, artists, all the people who are involved in Christian ministry on their highway to heaven. Right here on TV 12 every Saturday night at 7 for great sounds of Southern, bluegrass, contemporary gospel music, and again, interviews with church leaders. We'll see you here on your highway to heaven.
I wish I would have been alerted about this rising water before now.
With HyperReach, this situation could have been avoided.
Did you know Roane County is threatened by many different hazards, including flooding, tornadoes, straight-line winds, as well as chemical or radiological incidents? HyperReach will send out emergency notifications directly to you regarding the imminent threat of natural and man-made disasters, as well as other public safety hazards.
Sign up at roancounty.tn.gov/OES or call 717-4116. Registration is quick, easy, and free. Take a few minutes of time now to avoid tragedy later.
The students of Roane County have a message.
Do it for me.
For us.
Do it for me.
For me.
Do it for me.
Do it for me.
Do it for me.
Do it for us.
Do it for me. Do it for me.
Make sure you lock up your medications. If not for you, do it for them. It only takes a little to lose a lot.
Do it for me!
For more information, call 865-224-0205.
Board. Joan, would you call the roll?
I think she got everybody, Lauren.
Pardon me?
I think Joan got everybody.
Oh, okay. Okay, next, we do have a quorum then. So next on the agenda is public comment. I don't know if anybody emailed anything in or not. Do you know, Kim? Did not see anything. Now I can't hear you.
Okay.
No, you're on mute. There we go. Okay, then approval of October minutes. Has everybody read those, and does anybody have any questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. The October minutes have been approved. And the approval of October financials. I don't know if Joan can't go over those, if Daniel would want to, or what.
Daniel, Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, I'll be glad to. So you've got the October financial statements that John and Kim emailed you today. Also, my write-up is included in that as well. Essentially, the highlights from that is we've got about $340,000 in working cash for the water and sewer department. We've set aside a little over $700,000 for debt in our debt service fund, and we've got basically revenues over expenses this month. Looks like it's around $49,000. We started off the year rough. We had a fairly large loss in the month of July. We've caught up a little bit, so our year-to-date revenues do exceed expenses at the moment by about $63,000. Comparatively, you look back to the prior fiscal year, same year-to-date, revenues exceeded expenses by $186,000. So we've got to tighten our belts to make sure that we end the year positive. On the gas side of the world, we've got $1 million in operating cash. We're obviously just ramping up in the gas season, so we haven't sold the number of decatherms that we had intended to, or that we hope to sell by the end of the year. We're certainly hoping that the revenue will pick up and we have some colder months. Your operating revenues for gas were $112,000 in the month of October. Your operating expenses, excluding the cost of gas, were $78,000. For the month, gas operated in the negative by $64,000, and year to date, we're in the hole $187,000. So at this point, we continue to, this is a normal trend for those of you who are new on the board. July through September, typically we're operating at a fairly negative number. And then as gas picks up, we obviously have more gas expenses, but that revenue stream picks up and again makes up for, or is intended to make up lost times, that lost revenue. One of the things that I'm seeing in the trending is that our industrial customers who actually buy gas from other marketers and basically transport that gas into our system, we typically will generate $28,000 a month in transport revenue, and we are nowhere near that. So we're only generating about $6,000 a month in transport revenue. So that tells me our manufacturing side is really struggling still in this economy. And we as a utility may end up having to cover that additional demand cost. So for those of you who are new to the board, let me give you a quick explanation. Rockwood basically buys a size of pipe from the pipeline. They're allowed to push so many decatherms through that pipe to supply their customers. So we buy that, and it's basically guaranteed to us that we'll receive that kind of delivery. We have more excess capacity than we actually use at the moment. And so the gas marketer that you have in place right now, Earl Burton, is able to take that excess capacity that we have committed at the pipeline level and turn that into revenue for Rockwood. So you guys are actually receiving cash for that excess pipeline availability because Earl's able to market that and sell it for you. That pipeline, though, and the cost of that pipeline is what we call the demand charge. And that runs about $56,000 a month. That is a solid cost that you have every month for 12 months. And so we try to split that demand up between what our transport customers pay and what our residential and commercial customers pay. And we did that years ago in the rate schedule so that we can try and recoup that demand costs from different classes of customer in a fair and a proportionate way. We're seeing that trend, obviously, in the transport revenues that we're not collecting because our industrial customers are still struggling. So we may very well have to cover that additional cost this year, and we may have to revisit that rate structure as time goes on. So we continue to monitor that, just so you know. So we're trying to pay attention to that as time goes.
Excuse me. I noticed, Daniel, the for the whole utility, the water, wastewater, and gas, we're about $173,000 behind where we were last year. Now the things that you were talking about, the fees and stuff, do you think that is the main driver of that, or are there other factors that we need to consider and look at?
I think there's other factors that we need to look at it in a multifaceted approach. It's not just one. It's not just one component. Obviously, Kim can speak to the system, the age of the system, and the repairs and maintenance that we have. We did incur a fair amount of overtime in July, so our payroll was heavy, and also our revenues in water. We're seeing a increasing gap between the amount of gallons that we produce versus the amount of gallons that we bill. We looked at that in a little bit more detail this month, and basically it's confirming that your meters are old, and that meter replacement needs to take place fairly soon. Essentially, your meters are a cash register. And meters, as they age, they don't read as efficiently. And so you might be pushing 2,000 gallons through that meter, and it's only reading 1,500 gallons. So you're losing revenue when that meter's not turning properly.
Okay. And I believe that we are addressing that. Is that correct, Kim?
That's part of what our capital budget included, was looking at that, and we plan to have a proposal out so we can look at different options for that in the next couple of months. And we talked about rolling that cost into the potential bond issue that would come up in the spring.
Okay.
And I think it's definitely, I agree with Daniel, that's key to keeping us on track, because I think, well, I know we're losing money based on the age of a lot of our meters.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions or comments for Daniel while we've got him on here? I guess not. With that, do we have a motion to accept the October financial?
Motion to accept.
Very good. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. So the financials have been approved for October. Kim, the general manager's report is next.
Yeah, quickly, I just had a few things. At City Council last night, they discussed adding a walk-up to City Hall, because as you're aware, our City Hall payment office is now closed to the public. We're doing everything over the phone. We still have our clerks there. So we're handling everything that way. City Council is prepared to make a walk-up type window in probably the January, February timeframe, which I think we may still be in this situation at that time.
Sure.
Either way, it could be helpful to a lot of our customers. Then I mentioned very quickly that we had I know I notified you all by email, but we had a severe water leak last night in front of our water plant. We did have a lot of cleanup that had to be done to the water plant, because there was water inside the plant from the water leak. In fact, I have as of today, I went ahead and filed an insurance claim for the driveway, because we have some pavement damage. So we'll see. There's not any damage to the plant that has not been cleaned up. So we were very fortunate with that. It has been really difficult because we've got a smaller staff right now due to some quarantine issues, and so we had our staff out most of the night last night, and they did an excellent job. I was very pleased with how they came in while they were on vacation, the ones that could, and stayed there all night after working all day. So I was very pleased with how our staff worked together, and we got service back to everybody before their work day and school day. That is probably the main thing. If you don't have any questions, I think everything else is on the agenda.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Kim? Very good. Then we'll go to the start with the old business, I&I update and crew activity reports.
I'm going to have to ask that we defer and next month or the next meeting do several months at a time because there were problems with our printer getting that report printed out for you. So I apologize for that.
Okay.
Defer that.
Update employee policy related to COVID.
At the last meeting, I discussed, we've updated our plan several times since April, and you all requested that I talk to the health department to try to see what they recommended, and I have done that. The recommendations change constantly, so I've got different answers at different times. I did include Tennessee Department of Health COVID-19 contact tracing for employers. Basically, the one change I was asking to clarify from our current standard is during a quarantine, if an employee has a direct contact and test negative, can that essential worker come back to work? And what I would recommend is if we can put that worker working alone and not with other employees, then we would allow them to return to work. Basically still keeping them isolated till that 14-day time period.
Okay.
We've had quite a week in the last week, and we have, I believe, 7 quarantined and 2 positive cases right now. So it makes a hardship. So we've definitely got to be extra careful and keep everything under control. Everyone's following safety procedures. I think it's just the nature of where we are. So that's really the main change that is in this. Otherwise, it pretty much follows the Department of Health. Right now, if someone is a direct contact, then they are quarantined for 14 days. If they test positive, they are 14 days, or unless their doctor gives us a notice that they are cleared to come back to work.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on the COVID document for Kim? We needed to approve that last month, did we not, Kim? And then we had some questions that you just covered.
Right, so that's why we just brought it back. You had some questions about the health department recommendations.
Okay. So we need to make a motion to approve these changes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the changes that Kim has made to the COVID-19 document?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so that has been approved then.
Thank you. We'll distribute that to our employees tomorrow.
Okay, very good. Next on the old business is consideration and approval of change order number 1, 2019 Cdbg wastewater collection system improvements.
This is the project that you all approved the contract last month at the call meeting. We have not actually started the construction, but at the pre-construction, the contractor pointed out several areas after doing the field review of things that we needed to add or deduct or adjust. And we wanted to go ahead and get those addressed at this time. There is a change to the contract of $16,986 additional. It This contract with the grant includes about 30 to 32,000 of inspection costs that we will be doing the inspection with our staff. So we don't anticipate to spend that much. So the net increase of the project probably will be very similar, but the contractor's price is increasing by $16,986.
Okay.
So I would ask that you approve that so we can keep moving. They plan to get started in mid-December.
Okay, and that's right around the corner then. Does anybody have any questions on these changes for Kim? I don't hear anything, so I guess do we have a motion to approve the change order number 1, 2019 Cdbg?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then the ayes have it, and the change order has been approved, Kim. New business is the architectural presentation with review and approval of building finishes and layout.
As we discussed at our meeting a couple of meetings ago, the FEMA permit is very close to actually being submitted. They're wrapping up the grading plan and getting that ready to move. So I had talked to our architect, David Collins, with McCarty Hall Sapple and Associates about getting back on the project, getting it moving as far as getting the bid documents and drawings ready for bid so that we can move concurrently when we actually receive our permit. So David is here tonight to go over some of the exterior, interior questions that we need to address so that they can move ahead. So I'll turn it over to David.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Kim. I guess, do you want to do a screen share?
I think so. I think that'd be the easiest way to show them.
Yeah. That way I can zoom in on stuff and point to things.
Yeah. You have it on your screen to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I pull it up, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Hang on a minute. Okay. I should have it checked now for multiple participants. Is it letting you do it?
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
All right. Can you all see my screen?
I can, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Should have a big blue page on the front of it that says Rockwood Water, Sewer, and Gas Interior, Exterior Finishes Presentation. So, okay. Well, as Kim had mentioned, you know, we've been kind of waiting for you all to run through the process of the whole getting the stream, you know, resurveyed and all that work there, and so now, you know, we're, you know, glad to be working with you all again on wrapping up the building part of it. Just to give you an idea, we were a fairly good way through the construction documents phase of the project when the decision was made that we needed to put the drawing part of it, our drawing part of it, on hold. So, you know, we probably have about 4 to 6 weeks worth of work still to do on our documents to get completed. So that gives you sort of an idea of the timeline of what we have to do to get finished up on our thing. So, but one of the things that we wanted to get the board's concurrence and input on are some of the interior and exterior finishes for both the buildings, both the administration building
and the operations building. And Kim, I think we probably have at least one, maybe a couple of board members that are new enough that have they seen the plans and things?
I'm not sure how. I can't remember honestly if commissioners, if Bobby and Jeff have both seen this or not. So you all may speak up.
Yeah, I was thinking they hadn't, Kim, but I'm not positive of that.
It's been a while, so yeah.
Well, it's been a while, so we'll go through it in as much detail as you all want me to do this. So, okay, well, the first we'll talk about the administration building first. That's the first one that we've got kind of queued up, and show you a site plan of the building. This is west. You all can see my cursor moving. Okay, correct?
Yes.
Okay. This is West Rockwood Street that I'm pointing to here, and this is South Front Street here, and the building on the corner that you all purchased a couple of years ago and tore down the building that was on the corner. This is the footprint that you see in white of the new administration building. It's a one-story. We're at about 6,000 square feet. And it will house all of the administrative functions for the Rockwood Sewer Gas Department. And that's where customer service folks, we have a lobby there. Kim's office will be there. The boardroom will be there. The mapping room will be there. And some other, some administrative functions that are in that building. We'll also have a drive-through, or from a customer service standpoint, and that's located underneath this covered canopy area right here. It'd be similar to a bank teller, a remote bank teller location. So it's actually going to be in this location here. So, your customers that would use the drive-through would come up West Rockwood, turn in along the drive here, do their transaction, and then pull out back onto South Front Street here. We have employee parking located in this lot here. Of course, I think if any visitors could park there too, but since the front door of the building is located here, we would assume that most of the public parking would be in the street parking that you have on West Rockwood and on South Front Street. So that's kind of how the site works out. Your dumpster location would be back here in the back. We also have a location here for an outdoor covered area that employees could come and have a lunch, or a little like a little park setting that you all could use for some sort of outdoor events if you wanted to. There's a space there to do that. So thought that might be a nice amenity to have for the building. To give you an idea floor plan wise, again, this has not changed much at all since we stopped working on the project a year or so ago. As I mentioned, here's your front door. This is Front Street. This is West Rockwood Street here. And here's your front door. I think, as you all know, because of the flood study, we're having to elevate the building up off the current building elevation 3 feet or so. And so to get into your front door, we've got a series of steps and handicap ramp that feed off of the corner. Let me go back to the site plan. Feed off of the corner here of South Front and West Rockwood in this location here. And so that's what this is coming in. So you come in through the front doors. This is the lobby space here. This is where the clerks would sit and take transactions and also set you up for new service and that sort of thing. And then the offices, and this is sort of the demarcation line, a door here and a door here, that really separates the public space from
the back of house location. And we do have 2 public toilets, single holders in this location here, and the boardroom is located off the lobby as well in this location here. We've got a break room, another small conference room, and various offices and storage spaces back here in the back, kind of behind the I call it the demarcation line. Your mapping room would be located here, and employee restrooms would be in this location here. So looking at finishes, this is going to be I'm pulling up a floor plan. These are all the floor finishes that you see in the different colors. And they're not meant to necessarily represent what the actual colors of the floor are. I've got another diagram that has images of what the actual components are. When you come in, we'd have a carpeted walk-off mat at your front entry so that people aren't tracking in, rain and mud and that sort of thing in the lobby. We're recommending the use of a porcelain tile floor in the lobby, in the restrooms, and also a tile floor in the bathrooms. That's what that beigey color that you see here. The blue color indicates carpet. So in the boardroom, clerk's room, and most of the office space would be carpeted. The brown is a tile product. It's called, y'all probably heard of it. It's LVT. It stands for luxury vinyl tile. And the luxury doesn't mean it's got a high cost point to it. It's just I don't know why it's called luxury vinyl tile. It just is. But it's that plank flooring that you're starting to see used quite a bit. It's a vinyl product. It wears really well. It's got a soft cushion underneath it, and we use it a lot in offices and schools and those sorts of things. So that's a product that we're showing through a lot of the hallways, the break room areas, the workspace, the mapping room, kind of in the back of house. This darker gray color here is just sealed concrete. This is janitor's closet and mechanical space back here in the back. So those are primarily the finishes that we're recommending be used in the admin building. The next image, I think, this will give you an idea of the different finishes. And I apologize a little bit because these are photographs of the actual finishes, but it loses something when you can't hold them and look at them and those sorts of things. But and I'll zoom in a little bit on these. These are the carpets. This is the walk-off carpet. It's the black kind of carpet at the front, but this would be kind of a brownish carpet that would be in the other carpeted areas, and this would be the look of the LVT, the luxury vinyl tile. Again, a wood grain look that matches up nicely with the carpet color that we've got suggested for you. Let me zoom out here and get up. Okay, this would be this is the porcelain floor tile that we're recommending. It's in a rectangular shape. You see that used a lot now. Kind of a grayish. It's got some variation in the tone to it. It also matches up real well. You see this is the ceramic tile that we would use on the walls in the bathroom, the ceramic wall tile. So those would go together, as well as the floor tile in the lobby. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and show you. These are the wall colors for the paint that we would have on the walls. Primary color would be in the public spaces would be this off-white color, using something that's got a little bit more of a gray in it for office spaces and those sorts of things. And then these are 3 accent colors that we would use in various locations in the office, in the mapping room, just to give pops of color. I think we're showing this color and maybe on one wall in the boardroom, just to give it a little bit of a pop. And then these images down here are your millwork and your casework in the facility. The brown is the face cabinets, of your wall cabinets and your base cabinets. This is the vertical faces, where your drawers open. It would be this wood product. These two here are the countertop colors, and the quartz was what we would use in the lobby, and then the plastic laminate is what we would use sort of back of house. This is quartz is a much more expensive product. It's where you want to have your best foot forward, so to speak. It also wears incredibly well, and then the plastic laminate is more of a utilitarian type of product. So, but it's perfectly suitable for break rooms and the mapping room top and those sorts of things. So this is the palette of basically the palette of colors that we're recommending for the administration building. And we've gone through these with Kim, and I think her initial reactions are she likes them, but of course, we want your all's input as well. So before we get off of that, let me show you some images of some of the more public spaces. This is a view of the lobby. This is like if you're coming through the front door, and this would be the reception desk area here. And this would be the second shot, as if you're kind of standing here and looking towards the boardroom area. We've got a high ceiling in this area just to give some volume to that space. And then a couple of other views. We've got a showroom space that is sort of between the lobby and the boardroom. That's where, since you all are a gas utility, one of the things that you encourage your customers to do is use gas appliances. So we've got the opportunity here to showcase various gas products that your customers can use in their home, and hopefully encourage them to become gas users as opposed to electric. We don't want Kendall Bear to have to grab that money from you guys. So that's what would happen in the showroom area. And then this is a shot just of the boardroom, so you get kind of a feel for what that space looks like. We haven't tried to select any of the furniture or anything in the boardroom. That's just a representative space of the boardroom. You'd have a large screen monitor there, and of course we'd have sort of state-of-the-art devices to use for your board meetings and that sort of thing, but also views out to the lobby area. And then of course you're on there's windows on the exterior, so it'd be a very, very pleasant board space. Okay, the next, before we go to the exterior stuff, anything on the interiors for the admin building before we move on?
No, I personally, I don't think so. We had a committee working with you guys and everything, looking at colors and stuff like that. And Kim, I know you were on it, and I was on it, and Daryl was on it. And there were a couple of employees from the water company on it also, were there not?
Yes, we looked at all that together, and then met with the interior designer in David's office, who actually selected the palette and recommended all of these. So we have been through a process. Of course, the board has not been through that process except by committee. So, we want to make sure everyone's comfortable with that. Sure. And it has been a while, so. Yeah,
it has. And we did check, because sometimes, materials like carpets and tiles and things like that will, they'll switch them out, and the availability won't be there. But we've checked, there's current availability on all the products that we selected a year and a half ago. And so we don't have to reselect anything if you all are happy with the stuff that we picked out a year and a half ago.
I don't know what the best way would be to bring the rest of the board members up to speed other than what you're doing right now as far as the color selections and floor selections and all that kind of stuff. How much detail we need to go into and how do we do it, I guess would be the biggest question right now. A lot of things have changed in the last 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments or anything from you guys on how to proceed with this? Or
my comment is to let Kim and them pick out what they want. The other one's going to be working there, not us. So I don't see the need to be picking out anything for them.
Okay. And I understand where you're coming from, Bobby, and I tend to agree with you on that. Again, we're saying about getting old as a memory, but if I remember right, we went through a lot of potentials, and I think everybody thought it looked pretty nice with what we had, interior and exterior.
Mm-hmm. All right.
What I discussed with David early on was that we want a updated classic kind of feel for the building. We don't want something too terribly trendy because we want it to last for quite some time. This is a big expenditure for the utility. Definitely a huge upgrade from where we've been. So we're excited about our customers seeing that. We don't want it has to be redone in a short period of time. I think they've done a good job of doing that.
Yeah, and just for Bobby and Jeff's update on there, when you come in the lobby and I believe there were 3 people working in the front area there. They also run the drive-through. Is that correct? Because those are tubes.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And they are also separated from the customers coming in with the bulletproof glass and locked doors and all that kind of stuff. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, you can see, a little hard to see in this rendering, but yeah, there's glass around where the reception area is, and there's a door that goes into that space that they're in. So yes, they're very well protected.
Okay. And
then, yeah, this is a door that you go through to get kind of into the back of the house from the lobby.
Okay. And I think that's where people would go in for new services and stuff too. Is that correct, David?
Yes, we've got an office. Load this up off of. Yeah, it's this space right here.
Okay.
That is accessible. Yeah, from the lobby. They would come through. And
the clerk would be on the other side on the right side of that, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the customer service staff is there, and this is like a pass-through window as well. So that.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Well, and certainly, if you all have any other questions, after the presentation's over, feel free to get them to Kim, and she can get them to us, and we can revisit things or whatever. But
okay.
In the interest of time, we'll push on to the exterior views, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Okay. And again, this image has not changed dramatically from the last time that we presented it. One of the things that we do want to do, though, is get your all's opinion on an option on the brick for the exterior building. We originally showed an option, and actually it falls under option 2, of a reddish brick that is somewhat similar to what Kendall has down the street. We wouldn't recommend using the same grout color because that makes it such a monolithic look. But we also are looking at a brick that has some blend in it, and I can get into more detail on that. You'll see that when I pull up the actual images of the brick itself. So I'm showing an option 1 and an option 2 just on this exterior view, so you can see kind of the look and what it does to the look and feel of the building using a different type of brick. This is the brick. This one in option 2 is the brick that is color-wise is somewhat similar to Rockwood Electric, although we would use a more beigey mortar in there, not the red mortar that we have on that building. But this gives you a little bit more of a modern kind of contemporary feel, I think. This option 1, the original option, is a brick that has more range in it. It's got some brown in it. And so I think it gives a little bit more of a timeless look to it, a little bit, shouldn't say older is not necessarily the right term, but a little bit more of a timeless look to it, and maybe blends in a little bit better with downtown Rockwood. So that's one of the things that we would welcome your all's input on, whether an option 1 or an option 2 on the brick color. The other color that you see, the other material that you see, is a cast stone. Again, it's a man-made product out of natural materials. But it looks like limestone. It's a very handsome product, but it doesn't have the cost of limestone. We use it on several kind of. It's a great product to use on a civic building. It kind of gives it that civic look without the cost of real, quarry type stone. And then the canopies, we've got these metal canopies, and you'll see those more in the back when we get around the building on views. And those are the primary colors that we have on that building. We've also tried to hide the look of the front entry, so that when you're coming down West Rockwood, you don't perceive that this building's really 3 feet out of the ground. So we've extended a retaining wall that hides the stairs and the ramp, and put a planter in front of it so that visually it's not quite as noticeable that the front door is actually up out off the grade of the sidewalk quite as much. So that was one of the things that Kim encouraged us to look at, was how to kind of disguise that, for lack of a better term.
No, and myself, I think that looks good. But you said on the option 1, David, that you thought that brick would blend in with the surrounding buildings better. I know with the overhang and stuff, we were trying to get it to where it kind of blended in as well as it could.
Right, and what we can do with the canopy too is, have some of those metal rods that come out of it to help support it, and that's probably actually how it will really be done. And that's kind of a timeless look for canopies. If you remember, kind of back, in the 50s and 60s, canopies were supported off of buildings in that way, and so I think there's some things we can do to make this building look like it's maybe been around and not quite a brand new building. And sort of blend in with the character of some of the buildings up and down the street. Now, if you want something that looks more new, this is certainly a very handsome look in my opinion, and very modern look. And I like that one just as well, but it's not my building, so.
And that's something I guess we could discuss. I like I say, I believe we wanted it to try and blend in as much as we could with the others, but I could go with either one myself, but
Well, the good thing is both of these brick are cost just about the same, so you're not paying a premium one over the other, and it doesn't cause us to detail the building any differently, and so when we put the drawings out to bid, it would be nice to kind of nail down that decision, but it's not anything that we need to decide tonight per se. But I did want to put the two options in front of you for you all to consider.
Okay. And if it would be possible, I don't know, not real quick on switching it back and forth, but is there a way we could get copies of sent to us of both variations, I guess, so we could compare them side to side and stuff like that?
Yes, I've sent this presentation to Kim. She has it in digital format, and we can also print off copies if you want, so you can kind of put them side by side. And take a look at it.
Okay. And like I say, it wouldn't make a whole lot of difference to me. I'd like to see it blend in as well as possible, but we could get everybody to vote on it, and whoever votes the most wins, I guess. But like you say, there isn't a day and night difference between them at all.
No, we wanted to stay in sort of the reddish range or reddish brown range. I think that's most appropriate for this type of building in downtown Rockwood. So, it's not correct.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and show you some of the images as we work our way around the building. This is more of kind of a head-on view. This gives you a better shot of, as cars go through the drive-through, they would drive through this portal. And I think we talked about when we first designed the building, a couple of years ago, why we wanted to include this element along the street edge to sort of help complete the edge of the street there in downtown. You don't want to have too many open spaces in your building look like it's sitting out on an island all by itself. So this little device helps you, kind of make your building look a little bit larger along the street than it really is, and also signifies, the opening for where your customers will drive through to get to the drive-through. That's the drive-through kiosk here in the back.
And again, just for Bobby and Jeff there, originally the drive-through went the other way, and we had a person up there that would talk to the customers, but there was a concern about pulling out on Rockwood Street, and we had to raise the drive and everything else. So going in the other way and putting the tubes in, going back to the office seemed to be a great fix to the problems that we had.
You're exactly correct, Lauren. The drive-through used to sit right here. And, because we had the building so far out of the ground, to physically access it with, from your car window and then try to get back down on grade, it was just, it was just going to be a really difficult situation. Yes. This is a much, much better solution. So you'll pull a car up and you'll access it here like you do on a remote, bank ATM or whatever. It'll have the tubes that'll shoot over to the customer service desk there.
Okay.
And then coming on around the building, this is the view from South Front Street here. And your parking lots here, and there's South Front there. So that's in this image will give you a better idea of the differences in the two brick. This is it's got the range in it, and this is the brick that does not. And so this is what that cast stone material looks like, and then the metals would be a dark bronze kind of look. So that almost looks black on the screen, but it's a real brown black. So Okay, any more questions before we go to the operations building?
I'm good. I think if anybody else isn't, they would speak up. So.
Okay. All right, operations building won't take quite as long. It's not quite as sexy a building, so. But it is important that we talk about it because it is a significant. This is about 18,000 square feet of space that you're building, and so this is sort of an overall. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. Overall site plan. This is again, here's South Front Street as it runs in front, and this is Truckers Lane here, and I don't even remember the name of that. Okay, Rathburn Street over here on the left-hand side of the sheet. And you all have purchased these parcels here and demoed buildings on these parcels, and you also own this parcel back here in the back. We're locating.
Negotiated on that one. It's not been purchased yet.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
We'll get back on that process as we're moving ahead with these.
Okay, that's the one that the
Chamberlain Memorial.
Yeah, the church is a church that owns it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we've got the warehouse building located in this spot right here with a come loading, and I'll show you this in the floor plan. So the trucks would come in. Well, yeah, come in from this way and then flow through, and they load up for the various jobs in the day in here, and then pull out and go to the jobs off of Trucker Lane. We've also showing some outdoor pipe storage in this location here, and we've got a lot of indoor pipe storage located here, and then we've got some more pipe storage in this location here. As we had discussed with Kim, it will behoove you all to buy these properties as they become available, because your current area for outside storage is pretty limited right now. We feel like we have enough, but you don't have a lot of room to a lot of elbow room in your configuration, but eventually you will when you get the parcels purchased over time. Here's the public parking located here and some staff parking, and then proposing some additional employee parking off of South Front Street in this location here. And yeah, this is the location where the fuel aisling would be, and your gravel and dirt and those sorts of things that you all use on your projects. Then to look at the floor plan of the building, this is the main sort of warehouse and loading space here. It's a big flow-through, drive-through. The work crews will come in and load up inside the building for most of the small parts